Hello, this is Ross Molinaro, and I'm happy to welcome you back to SYCL360. This SYCL360 edition has 3 sections. First, Dr. Kaylin Olson will be talking about sessions of interest to SYCL members coming up at the AACC annual meeting in Los Angeles. Be sure to try and attend some of these outstanding sessions. The second podcast comes to you from Dr. Mohammed Al-Ghul. Mohammed had the opportunity to interview 3 SYCL members who are in the early stages of their careers. Each one of the interviews provides unique insights into what you as a SYCL member should be aware of when approaching a new job. Listen in and take advantage of their experiences and advice. The third and final section is by Dr. Nicole Corpy-Steiner. Nicole has interviewed Dr. Stanley Lowe, who is currently serving his term as president of the National Academy of Clinical Biochemistry. During this interview, you will learn what the NACB is all about and how it can be useful for you as a SYCL member. We hope you continue to enjoy this podcast. Please remember that SYCL360 can now be found on iTunes and YouTube. Also, feel free to email the SYCL Committee or SYCL360 Subcommittee to let us know if you have any suggestions for content in future podcasts. Thank you again.
It's an exciting time of year as we approach another AACC annual meeting where we get to see old friends and make new colleague connections. We moved from the East Coast last year to the West Coast in sunny Los Angeles for the 2012 annual meeting on July 14th through 19th. I'll be highlighting some academic and networking events that may be of particular interest for SYCL members. Often, especially as young laboratorians, our budget influences how many sessions and events we can attend at the meeting. Luckily, there are many great opportunities that are included in your registration fee at no additional cost. There are educational sessions, such as the daily plenary and meet the experts, as well as symposia. Poster sessions offer the opportunity to converse with authors about their latest research findings, including daily sessions in the expo area and the student poster session on Monday evening. Of course, the AACC SYCL Mixer on Monday night is the perfect time to socialize with SYCL members and supporters while enjoying food and drinks. There is always an evolving list of hot topics in laboratory medicine, so I've chosen a few of these topics that have multiple sessions at the AACC annual meeting. These are great topics to brush up on so that you're ready when the topic comes up at your laboratory. The suggested sessions include AACC University courses, plenary sessions, short courses, brown bags, symposia, and a variety of related activities. The general interest category includes topics such as fetal lung maturity testing, auto-verification, new diagnostic technologies, regulatory changes, and evidence-based guidelines. Remember that all symposia start with the number 3 and are free of charge to attend. A unique interactive way to learn at the meeting is by attending a brown bag session. These small group sessions allow an intimate conversation with colleagues over breakfast or lunch. SYCL members are frequent brown bag session leaders, and some of the 2012 brown bags led by SYCL members are listed here. Sign up is limited to the first 11 participants, so grab your spot soon. Start off your annual meeting this year with the SYCL Workshop and Mixer. Each year, young laboratorians organize a workshop that highlights useful skills and knowledge for their fellow young laboratorian colleagues. This year, the workshop will feature speakers with knowledge of lab-developed tests, molecular diagnostics, utilization, and lab test evolution. After the workshop, participants partake in a social event including food, drinks, and unique entertainment. Last year, the entertainment was Dance Dance Revolution. Sign up now to ensure your seat and find out what the mixer will hold this year. Another great event for SYCL members is the annual Van Slyke Foundation Silent Auction and Reception. This Wednesday night event is a great way to wrap up the annual meeting and support the VSF, which is a strong supporter of SYCL. This year, the event will take place at the Millennium Biltmore Hotel. You can bid on beautiful handmade goods like jewelry and art and other kindly donated items. Many young laboratorians attend, so join the fun this year and make it a tradition. For more information on the meeting, including how to register, session descriptions, and how to make travel arrangements, visit the 2012 annual meeting website. See you in Los Angeles.
Hello and welcome to this section of SYCL360 podcast. In this section of the podcast, we hope to provide SYCL members who are in the early stage of their career ideas on job searching, interviewing tactics, and starting new job strategies. To discuss these topics, we are excited to have Drs. Deanna Franke, Clinical Laboratory Director at Nebraska LabLink Pathology Medical Services. Hello, Diana.
Hello.
We are also thrilled to have Dr. Julie Straczynski, Assistant Professor of Pathology, University of Utah School of Medicine, and the Medical Director of Endocrinology and Automated Core Laboratory at ARUP Laboratories. Hello, Julie.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. We are fortunate to have Dr. Laura Barnas, Associate Director of Laboratory Services at Palo Alto Medical Foundation. Hello, Laura.
Hello, everybody.
Thank you all for joining us this morning. Let us start our discussion by posing the following question. What are some of the considerations that a fellow should be aware of during the process of searching and deciding to apply for a job? Deanna, let us start with you, please. Your thoughts.
Really, when searching for positions and actively applying, I would encourage fellows to target opportunities that stretch you and challenge you to use your skill sets in different ways. Although in your mind you may have a set picture of what you want your first job to look like, don't limit the possibilities right out of the gate. There are a number of avenues and opportunities for fellows to consider, including but not limited to in vitro diagnostics or pharmaceutical industry, academia, clinical service, or a combination thereof. In addition, networking with IVD vendors or companies that you've interfaced with during your fellowship and research activities, recent graduates who have found job positions similar to what you are looking for, and close mentors within your current fellowship program or other fellowship programs will stretch you and help jumpstart your job search.
Thank you, Diana. That was great. Julie, your thoughts, please?
First, I'd say that you really want to establish your wish list for what you define as the perfect job. What are you interested in doing? What do you have absolutely no interest in doing? That really helps to focus your job search. However, I'd also encourage fellows to think outside the box when it comes to looking for and applying to certain jobs. If a job listing doesn't include everything that you have on your wish list, just keep in mind that there might be opportunities outside of what's included in the job listing. So if you have a particular passion or if you have an interest in a certain topic, I would suggest discussing that with a potential employer and see if working in that area, in addition, of course, to what they're actually hiring for, is a possibility. You'd be surprised. People are usually more than happy to help somebody pursue something that they're clearly interested in.
Great. Thank you, Julie. Laura, what do you think?
I would encourage fellows to do a broad search when they're looking for a job. Even if they're not ready to apply, being aware of what types of jobs are in the marketplace is a great idea. So when ready to start the process, look at what's available and start making a shortlist, which will greatly vary by each individual person. So some of the variables will include academia versus private versus biotech, IVD, or pharma, government jobs, and nonprofit jobs. Also, some other variables include special interests. Some people are more interested in more research, more teaching, consulting, or management. Also, geographic constraints. Is there absolutely a place that you would not go? And family constraints, your significant other, children, proximity to relatives, etc. Also, I think networking is crucial. Many available jobs don't make it into the official posting, or the ad is posted after the job has been filled. Work closely with your program director and because they're usually the people who are aware of potential opportunities.
Thank you, Laura. These are great tips here. Now let us assume that a fellow already managed to land an interview. The next question would be, what are some of the measures that a fellow should be aware of during the process of interviewing for a job? Deanna, we'll start with you again.
Well, at least you've now gotten over the first hurdle where you've gotten your interview. And what I would say is during the interview process, it's important to remember that the event is a mutual evaluation of best fit. The employer is evaluating your skill, your personality, and determining how you will assimilate into the organization from the minute you make contact. I would encourage you as a potential candidate and interviewee to keep this in mind and also know you should be doing the same. Understanding your strengths and possible blind spots will help you during your interview process. I would encourage fellows to take the time before interviews to do some introspective self-evaluation as well as get feedback from current mentors. In addition, researching the organization and position prior to the interview is important. Do your homework. Read up on newspaper bits, articles, any written publications by the group or possible team members that you may be interviewing with, and check their website. Researching allows you to be better equipped with knowledge to ask the right questions during the interview at the right time. Lastly, it is also important to understand if the position is newly created or established but vacant. Given these two scenarios, onboarding into the organization and position will be different and help you as a candidate meet the needs of the organization.
Thank you, Diana. That was great. Thank you. Julie, what do you think?
It sounds relatively easy, but my biggest tip for people as they go through the actual interview process, and actually the application process as well, is to just simply keep track of what you've sent to whom and when. It sounds easy, but it's important. So also keep track of where you saw the original posting. That can help you if you ever need to go back and take a look at it. If you start to apply for several postings, it can actually get a little bit confusing, so keeping track is important. Also, at this point in your career, your CV is constantly changing and you're constantly updating it, so it's a really good idea to know what version of your CV a potential employer is actually looking at. Remember, there could be a few months between actually putting together your application and then finally discussing it with a potential employer. So make sure if you do get an on-site interview, make sure you provide them with an updated copy of your CV as well.
Thank you. I can't agree more with that. Laura, your thoughts, please?
First of all, be prepared to wait. That's my first piece of advice. Sometimes filling the positions can be a long process. And whether you're on a phone interview or on a personal interview, be absolutely prepared. Know your CV very well and be prepared to discuss any aspects of it. You will be very surprised at what people look at when they review your CV. And then again, do the research, become familiar with the position, the institution and the company, mission, vision, values, and also the competition, and learn who you will be talking to during your interview. And prepare your elevator speech, prepare some questions that you want to ask, and remember social etiquette rules. The potential employer already knows that you're qualified for the job based on your application, and the interview process will determine if you are the right person for that job.
Excellent point. Thank you. Okay, so at this stage, one already received an offer and started a new job. So the question is, what are some of the major challenges fellows are faced with on a new job, and what tools do you recommend fellows use to help them meet these challenges? Diana, again, we'll start with you.
Sure. I would say it's probably easy to get very overwhelmed because you're excited about your new position. But remember that Rome was not built in a day. Together with the organization that hires you, you need to be prepared to assimilate into a new culture and be open to practices that are currently in place. Use the skills that you are hired for to enrich current state and create a future state where you are an invaluable resource. I would definitely recommend goal setting. Make 30, 60, 90-day plans and continually circle back with your leadership to determine if the short and long-term goals meet expectations.
This is great advice. Thank you, Diana. Julie, your thoughts?
I think one thing that can actually be kind of challenging is that, as we all know, every institution, every system, every environment, they all are a little bit different. And so that means that every place is going to have a little bit of its own language, if you will. So the way you're learning to do things right now in your current fellowship or where you're being trained, it might not be the way you end up doing it at your first job, and you have to keep that in mind. As you near the end of your fellowship training, I always say it's a good idea to start looking at things really broadly as you end your training and start to keep in mind what about what you're learning is very institution specific and what about it could actually vary from place to place.
Excellent point. Thank you. Laura, your thoughts?
I think one of the major challenges is to get used to the new setting. We carry all these biases from our training, and every place will have different ways of doing the same thing and different institutional policies. So the best advice I was given was to take the time to learn and observe your operation without much intervention. Get to know the people at all levels, up and down, attend all the meetings, and establish good relationships. Also review your expectations. Make sure you're visible and available to the staff, and always keep your mind open and remember the big picture.
Great, thank you. Laura, you are presenting a brown bag session on July 18th during the AACC meeting. During that session, you will be discussing the topic of finding a job. I think this would be a great opportunity for young members to attend. The session title is Getting Your First Job, Tools and Ideas to Guide the Interview Process, Salary Negotiations, and Transitioning into the Real World. The session numbers are 44101 and 54201. With this, I'd like to thank you all for this interesting discussion and for sharing your experience and aptitude, as well as your dedication to our profession. Thank you all. Finally, on this slide, we will find some of the different ways to search for a job, including some major search engines' websites. Make sure to have your business cards and/or CV handy at the AACC annual meeting. The AACC annual meeting is a perfect opportunity to connect with people and express your interest in working with certain institutions and discussing job opportunities with potential employers. The AACC Career Center on the AACC website is updated daily with interesting opportunities, so you may want to consider uploading your CV and checking the site daily for jobs of interest. You may also want to consider some government agencies' website, as well as contacting recruiters who may have some job leads that you may be interested in. We hope that this was a useful session in helping you take the next exciting step in your career. Thank you very much for listening.
In this section of the podcast, we have the exciting opportunity to learn more about the National Academy of Clinical Biochemistry, also known as NACB. To tell us more about NACB, we are very fortunate to have Dr. Stanley Lowe join us today. He is an active member in AACC, wherein he has served on several committees. Currently, one of his many contributions to AACC in the field of clinical chemistry is serving his term as president of NACB. Welcome, Stan. Would you please describe to us what NACB is all about?
Well, to get started, I'd like to give you an idea of what NACB is about. I'll first need to tell you our vision and mission. Our vision is to be the leading scholarly organization advancing the science and practice of laboratory medicine. Our mission is threefold. 1, to advance clinical practice and research. 2, to promote education and professional development in clinical laboratory medicine. And 3, to serve as the professional academy of AACC. In 2006, NACB began its transition from an independent organization into AACC's academy. This process has been formally completed as of 2011, so our transition is complete. With the assistance of NACB leadership and AACC leadership, we are continuing to refine our role as AACC's academy. Currently, the NACB membership is composed of 545 members. Of these members, 390 are fellows, 40 are associate fellows, and 115 are emeritus fellows. Of the 545, roughly 19% live outside the United States. 80% of the 545 are PhDs, and 20% are MD PhDs. So how do we accomplish our mission? We can characterize our objectives into 4 different groups: clinical practice, research, education, and professional development. For clinical practice, our objective is to be the leading laboratory society in the development of systematic reviews and laboratory practice guidelines. Activities range from the NAC blog and white papers, one of our newest additions, to the laboratory medicine practice guidelines. Our research objective is to be the leading advocate for scholarship through scientific research in clinical laboratory medicine. We accomplish this by recognizing distinguished abstracts and posters at the AACC annual meeting. In addition, we are working with the annual meeting organizing committee to develop oral presentations from submitted abstracts. We expect this to grow and develop into a routine component of the annual meeting in the future. On education, our objective is to provide outstanding educational programs relating to the scholarships of discovery application and integration in clinical medicine. We organize and sponsor several educational sessions at the AACC annual meeting, as well as the Beckman Conference. On the topic of professional development, we support and promote ABCC and COMAC, two critical organizations in the development of doctoral level clinical laboratorians. In addition, we recognize service and science through the NACB awards, and we publish a newsletter, typically 3 times a year, for information regarding the activities of NACB. For membership, if you are a doctoral level clinical scientist, there are 2 ways you may become a fellow of the NACB. The first process is to hold an ABCC or equivalent board certification and be active in research, education, or service in clinical biochemistry. The second method is to have at least 10 years of postdoctoral experience in clinical biochemistry, plus distinguished achievements in research, education, or service, and be recognized for outstanding contributions to the field of clinical laboratory medicine. There is also the category of Associate Fellow for doctoral level individuals who have not completed board certification or are not qualified through distinguished achievements. All applications are submitted electronically. You can visit our website for further information. Some of the benefits of becoming a member of NACB include receipt of all of our publications. These are the Laboratory Medicine Practice Guidelines, white papers, the NACB blog, and our newsletter, News and Views. For those new to NACB, attendance at our annual membership meeting and awards luncheon is free of charge. Members who are fellows of NACB are eligible to hold elected office. In other words, you may be an officer of NACB or a board director or hold a position on the nominating committee. You would also be eligible to vote in all elections and propose bylaw amendments. Both fellow and associate fellows may serve on appointed committees or boards. These include the Awards Committee, the Bylaws Committee, the Evidence-Based Laboratory Medicine Committee, the Membership Committee, the NACB Blog Editorial Board, and the News and Views editorial positions. Note that the EBLMC appointment is a joint appointment with the AACC. For me, the appeal of NACB lies within the many opportunities it provides. Having the opportunity to serve my colleagues and give back to my profession is very important to me. I certainly appreciate the opportunity my colleagues have given me to lead NACB. I also enjoy the opportunity to influence or change the practice of our profession. I'm not saying that it will significantly influence or change practice, but that NACB provides a means to which you may accomplish this task. NACB also provides me with an opportunity to advance my career through scholarly works of LMPGs and white papers. And finally, NACB membership is a great way to work with and meet colleagues with similar interests. I believe my membership with NACB has enabled me to advance my professional career. Thanks for your time, and I hope I was able to shed some light onto what NACB is about, how to become a member, and its benefits.
Thanks, Stan. This information is very inspiring and informative, and I think will be very useful to interested new and current members of NACB. We greatly appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to provide us insight into NACB and the many opportunities and resources that this Academy offers to its members.